first harvest of the year. Some are still ripening. Hey there, Marge here from A Rose Grows in Harlem. It is Feeding Friday, May 29th, the last Friday of the month. We're getting into June, everybody. Today I am taking it from the inside because I have been thinking long and hard about a comment that I got last week. So, quick recap. If you don't know about my channel, if you have been watching for the years that I've had videos been posted up, I decided in 2021 to go ahead and start getting some fruit trees, some nut trees, berries, and other things so I can create a food forest in my backyard. I decided that I would get as many trees as I could and make sure that, you know, they were partnered with the ones that would make sure that they would pollinate and that I would get fruit and so on and so forth. I knew that it was going to be a years-long attempt because the size or the age of the trees that I was getting was like 1 to 2 years. And normally, you know, fruit trees and berries normally will come in pretty quickly, but fruit trees might take a few years. So I'm like, okay, let me just get it started before I know the years will have passed and I would have gotten something. So this channel has basically been about transforming the backyard into a weedy nothingness into what it looks like today. While I have been learning about growing trees and growing veggies and growing fruit and things like that, you come across, you know, all the different challenges. One of the challenges is pests, and different types of animals can be pests depending on how they affect your gardening, right? Birds can in a way be pests because they might eat the fruit off of your trees or the berries off of your bushes. Possums could be a pest because they're out there eating, who knows, they might be digging up roots and eating fruit and all other sorts of things. Those pests are not as dangerous as some other ones. They could carry some diseases. Birds mostly. Possums are actually really great because they get rid of ticks, they get rid of really harmful insects and other things, and they're pretty awesome. The worst thing they do is like go through your garbage and make a mess, but they're pretty good. I would probably not put them in the category of pest. But if they have their mouths on one thing, it could still spread bacteria to other things. So in a way, you know, they're good for the garden, but they could still cause a problem. Then you have the mice, the squirrels, the raccoons, and rats, and things like that. Now, this channel is all about learning, and this channel is all about trying something and then seeing how to fix or how to, you know, overcome that challenge. So I've been thinking long and hard about this comment that a person left, which thank you very much for the comment. I appreciate your concern, and I did answer a bit in text, you know, as a reply, but I figured I would talk about it here. Especially because we have the announcement of the hantavirus coming into the country because of other people who were traveling someplace, got it, and then came back into the US. Mice and rats are known to carry this hantavirus, and this could potentially infect other animals. So you don't want to have your garden or your food forest as a breeding ground, right? That's completely understood. There's also an issue where if you're feeding birds, why are you putting bird food and bird seed next to these cat enclosures that I made years ago? And I get it. If you're just coming to my channel now and just watching, I can see how that seems like a hazard and it seems counterintuitive, because obviously you don't want to invite the cats there and then say, oh look, they have free reign over all these birds. The cat enclosures I made a few years ago, and it was mostly because the temperatures were starting to get much lower than they have been in many years before. And I wanted to make sure that our many feral cats, I mean, we would have 2 to 3 litters a year coming out of this neighborhood. And I wanted to make sure that, you know, we were already undergoing what we call TNR, which is trap, neuter, release, so that this way, you know, they're not spreading any more seed. They're not making any more kittens that are there. We were also working with local pet agencies to like humane societies that do fostering, that do adoption, that do rescues and stuff like that. So we have been for years helping to reduce the cat population. And this year, I have only seen maybe total 5 strays, when we would have, like every other month, there would be a new family of cats coming through. So our efforts are working, and that's great. Now, due to my negligence in the garden, I have not cleaned up those cat houses. We created the big tool shed, if that's what you want to call it, our cat hotel, because they weren't staying in the cat shelters. So we knew for sure the only things that were in there were like spiders and maybe smaller things like chipmunks and other smaller rodents. Still not optimal. Should I have picked up those little enclosures? Sure. But because I was getting rid of other habitats, I still wanted to provide them a place to be able to live, right? This food forest is not just about the things that I want to harvest. This food forest is also to allow habitats for other animals that are naturally in this environment, you know, to have a place to call their own. Am I going about it the right way? I am not an expert, and I could be making mistakes. Am I possibly making things worse? That is also, you know, a possibility. So I appreciate when someone brings up a concern. I am considering redoing that whole area. And I think what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna leave the seed that's there, let the birds and animals eat whatever is left, and just let the rest decompose. So this way it's just, you know, let it break down, let it become part of the soil, let it grow more plants, and so on and so forth. This cleanup job is really better done in the winter time, but I may go out there and, you know, put on my long sleeves, get a mask, and definitely some heavy duty gloves, and go out there with my, I have this long extension pincher thing. Do I have it here? Oh yes, I have it here. I have one of these grabbers. And I got one specifically for the garden because I wanted to make sure that if I needed to reach for something, that I wasn't gonna suddenly find myself aligned with a black widow or a brown recluse, because we have those down here, or a snake. Most of our snakes here are garden snakes because we're not by water, but you never know. I mean, with the rains and how they come in, and all the habitats are being taken away from these animals, and they're kind of just fending for themselves, so you never know what you might find. So I'm trying to be careful in that sense. So I'm going to rethink my feeding Fridays. Right now, I have the I have the 3 feeders on the greenhouse frame, and then I have the squirrel feeder. I did not refill them this week. I just left whatever was there. I believe there's maybe like a quarter full of seed left, and in the 2 cylinders, and I mean they just annihilate the feeder that's rectangular. And there was a beautiful little like red-headed woodpecker. That's not what it's called. It just has like a little tuft of red. He was picking at the suet, so that was really cute. But yeah, I'm rethinking how I'm gonna set up this sanctuary for the birds so that they have a place to eat, right? The optimal thing to do is to just give them actual plants and actual flowers and actual seeds, which I kind of did already. I have wheat growing everywhere in my yard. It is unbelievable. And I can't tell if it's from the bird seed or if it's from the straw. Yeah, the seeding straw. Oh no, no, the seeding straw is the one that's not supposed to grow. I just got some regular straw from a store that I don't shop at anymore, so I'm not even gonna say its name. But or why not? If you wanted to boycott, oh, I can't even remember the name of it. Oh, I woke up really early today and my vocabulary is especially bad. Oh, it had to do with farmers or something like that. I had a video that I did where I got the mosquito pellets from there, and it was a great store. It was a fantastic store, but they were one of the first stores that said they were removing their DEI initiative and they were pulling out of all of the Pride Parade stuff. And I was like, all right, well then I guess I don't have to shop here anymore. That stuff is important to me. I fight for equality when it comes to race, gender, ethnicity. Like, it's ridiculous when someone decides to pull away from being diverse. I will not spend my money for people who are trying to keep the status quo all the same. That's not my deal. Which is, you know, that aligns with what I'm trying to do with the garden, right? I don't want it to just be a garden for me. I want it to be a garden for everybody that's supposed to be living here. The chipmunks, the squirrels, the frogs, the butterflies, the birds, the snakes, the spiders, right? I mean, we have a huge Joro spider problem. I think it started back in the 90s or early 2000s. Somebody brought a box here and it had a Joro spider in it. That spider made babies and it was all over. Now they're going up as far as New Jersey, and I think as far north as New Jersey and as far south as Florida. And it's scary because they're big spiders. They've got yellow and black on their back, and then I think they've got like a red middle, like or just like a little red, like a, I don't even know what to call it. It's just like a splash of color of red on their belly, and they get big, and their webs are these golden silky threads that will pull your clothing. That's how strong they are. Like, if we could harvest when they're done and they're gone for the winter, if we could harvest their webbing, that would be incredible, because I would say it's definitely stronger than silk. But anyway, they are invasive here, and they are decimating the orb weaver population that are natural to like orchards, right? I couldn't even tell you the names, but just looking up Joro spider information, these are the things that you learn. So, what are my next steps? I'll have to think long and hard about it. I might have to film some videos ahead of time, just to think about like what I want to do, if I want to continue to feed the birds. If I do, I have to be very specific about how I'm feeding them. No more swinging feeders. If the squirrels are getting to a place where they're not supposed to be, that has to be spicy food. Just like we saw where the squirrel tried to eat it and ran away. That can't happen. We can't have them eating and then knocking the food all over the place, because then the rats were like, oh, this is great. yeah, I'll have to think about it. We'll have to think about changing up the food. We'll have to think about securing the bird feeders. And I know that any bird feeder personnel will, who works at like a store that sells bird food, will tell you keep it 10 feet away, keep it blah blah blah. And I am letting you know, squirrels will find out how to get up something that's holding a bird feeder, or something that where a bird feeder is hanging, unless you're using like fishing line, or unless you like they figure out ways to get up or to climb down to get to the food. They're scavengers and they'll eat whatever they can. So if I could find a way to get them food, they're also opportunistic, so they're going to take whatever they want. I just have to be mindful of when I'm feeding, how I'm feeding, how much I'm feeding, and that should help. That should help with some of the pests. You would think that because I have neighborhood cats, that I don't have neighborhood pests. They live in a harmonious little world, all of them together. I've not seen anyone chase, not for years. When we were getting the litters of cats, I think back then I saw hunting, but it was mostly smaller critters like mice and chipmunks and other things. Now, we also have huge owls that come out at night. So any night dwelling creature, they're sticking to the shadows and trying to stay away from those owls. But yeah, there's definitely some kind of not disruption, something's not balanced. Yeah, so we'll have to figure out what that is and how to make that right. So until then, I may not be outside feeding the critters. Maybe I'll finally get a chance to focus on my seeds. I have to look these all up and see what's still okay to plant in June. I have a book about that. Maybe I'll go get that for next week. There's a book specifically about what you can plant at certain times of the year in Georgia, and I might end up doing that. But I guess I will finish off today with just showing you what the garden looks like, and to show you my crazy mushroom kingdom that popped up after the rains. All right, let's take a look at the backyard. Oh man, it's gonna rain. How do I keep catching these rainy days? I don't know. But you see, look at all this that I have to weed, and all this stuff I have to clean up. Ooh. All right. Here are my potatoes. Doing great, along with these brambles. My peach trees. My roses already came and gone. That over there is a pawpaw, and nothing's happening with that. Look at the... That's the state of my bird feeders. Those are my pear trees over there. Kiwi. This is the ridiculous plant that I keep pulling back. You see how fast it grows? That's in a 1 week time. Oh, there's spiders on there. I'm not gonna mess with that. There's spiders on there. Little jumping spiders. I don't like to mess with them. My roses that already bloomed and gone. Beautiful. Olive trees. all of this stuff that I cleaned. It's all coming back because it definitely has to be done all the time. I can't even get over there right now. But that's my apricot tree. I love the way that looks. It's so pretty. And my plums. I think I'll get to cleaning this stuff this weekend. All right, let's go to the front. Here is my crazy overgrowth of chocolate mint. My lantana started early. Normally it doesn't come until July, but it likes being with this chocolate mint. These are weeds. That is my ridiculous wheat. And here is my mushroom kingdom. I'll put the name of it on the screen, but they are false parasols, and they're poisonous, so don't eat them. And all of my marigolds that fell over here, I'm gonna see if I can replant them elsewhere. It's more wheat. Involuntary sunflowers. Look at that. How cute is that? My mushroom kingdom and the sunflowers. And a little bug. Okay, let's go to the side yard. Still haven't cleaned this stuff up yet, but my beautiful walking onions are doing their thing. These are old corn stalks. More walking onions. This I think is some kind of privet. I don't know where that came from. They just come up. I'm going to empty these out and strain them, because that is liquid fertilizer gold. And I will put those in some containers, and I'll throw the leaves in the compost to make more compost. Here are my marigolds that were, it's not starved. They were dehydrated, so I think these died. And these survived, and these are the seeds. This is probably super wet right now because of the rain, and I think it's gonna rain again because I could already hear it. Those are my fuchsias. They're about to open. My other zinnias. More zinnias, and these are from seed. And these are my most successful zinnias so far. This one's about to flower. Those are zinnias from seed. I have a picture of my blueberries from earlier in the week that I ate, but they're ripening, which is exciting. And look at this weed that I have to, I've got so much to clean. So much to clean. Seems like I manage to get the rain often. But I wanted to talk about how I'm gonna handle the Feeding Fridays from now on. A few changes. Gonna think a little more about how I'm gonna make sure that the birds stay safe, and that I don't try to make it easier for the predators to get the prey. But thanks for hanging in there and joining along, and I hope everybody stays safe. have a great weekend. I hope you're out there doing your own resisting, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.